stand before the mirror again. Silent. Still. The light is soft, but something in the reflection feels sharp. Your eyes meet and linger. Not just on the surface. Deeper. As if something behind the glass is observing you, not the other. Way around. What if that's true? What if reality isn't what you see, but what sees you? This mirror, this silent witness, doesn't just show your face. It shows your frequency, your vibration, the energy you've forgotten you emit, every disappointment, every rejection, every cycle you can't escape. What if it all stems from this reflection you've never truly looked into? You feel it, don't you? The sense that something's off, that no matter how hard you try, life keeps reflecting the same pain. Different faces, same wounds, different goals, same emptiness. You've tried changing habits, shifting mindset, pushing harder, but the reflection doesn't change, and deep down, you're tired. Not of the effort, but of feeling unseen. What if the mirror has been speaking to you all along, whispering a truth your mind ignores, but your soul remembers? That you're not just the one being reflected, you're the one projecting, the architect behind the image. So ask yourself, if the mirror never lies, what is it trying to reveal? And more important, what have you been too afraid to see? Every situation, every person, every event is a field of information mirroring the way you perceive yourself. What you call reality is not something that happens outside of you. It is a reflection of everything you have accepted inside. When you believe you're unworthy, life echoes that belief through rejection. When you doubt your value, the world confirms your limitations. Not because it's cruel, but because it's precise. Reality doesn't punish, it reveals. It's not here to validate your fears, but to show you what you're broadcasting without realizing it. Like a frequency board mapping invisible signals, your thoughts, emotions, and inner identity become the coordinates. Every relationship, setback, opportunity, or delay, all of it is feedback. Not personal, not judgmental, just accurate. The mirror doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter, it reflects. And when you see the same struggles repeat, it isn't coincidence. It's calibration. You keep asking why you attract certain patterns, certain people, certain failures, but the mirror is already answering. Are you listening? This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. Because once you understand that life is not happening to you, but through you, everything begins to shift. The power is not out there. It's not waiting for approval, permission, or external change. It's in the frequency you're sending, now. And that frequency starts with the way you see yourself. So if the image in the mirror feels distorted, it's not the mirror that must be adjusted. It's the source of the signal. You. You are not stuck. You are broadcasting. You are not broken. You are out of tune. And the moment you choose to tune differently, the reflection follows. Not because reality changes first, but because you do. So ask yourself now, if you're sending out the wrong signal, how can you recalibrate the mirror to reflect what you truly desire? You don't need to change the world. You need to change the way you see yourself. Reality isn't something you conquer. It's something you influence by shifting your internal lens. You are not here to control every outcome, to force every situation, or to fix every broken piece. You are here to observe with awareness, to notice what you are projecting before anything appears outside. When you shift how you look, everything you look at begins to respond. This is the observer effect, not as a theory, but as a lived experience. Your gaze holds power, not the kind that manipulates, but the kind that retunes. Because frequency doesn't begin in your thoughts. It begins in the quality of your presence. You've been trying to think your way into transformation, but the mirror doesn't respond to logic. It responds to energy. And energy flows from attention, from belief, from self-regard. You are not reacting to life. Life is reacting to your vibration. When you stand before the reflection and speak with clarity, with intention, with ownership, the image cannot stay the same. You don't need to beg for better. You broadcast it. You don't need to prove your worth. You embody it. Say it now. I am not a victim. I am the signal. Not passive, not waiting. I choose. I emit. And reality aligns. This is not imagination. This is alignment. What you focus on strengthens. What you embody radiates. What you observe with presence, you transform. The moment you stop chasing change and start becoming the change, the mirror adjusts. The shift doesn't start outside, it starts within. So if the mind alone is not enough to command this frequency, then what is? What's truly setting the tone you carry every moment, even when you're not aware of it? What you believe, so deeply that you don't even know you believe it, has already been written into your nervous system. These are not thoughts you think. They are identities you become. You don't wake up each day thinking you're not enough. You embody it. You walk it. You breathe it. The way you hold yourself, the way you move, the way your eyes scan the world. All of it speaks a silent language that constantly asks one question. Am I worthy? And the body answers again and again before the mind can catch up. These signals are not random. They are remnants of stories long past, patterns you've lived with for years, maybe decades. And even though your mind may no longer believe them, your body still does. Because belief isn't stored in your logic, it's etched into muscle, rhythm, breath. It's not the conscious voice that controls your life. It's the memory in your cells that speaks louder. Every flinch, every hesitation, every closed-off gesture tells a tale, not of what's happening now, but of what was never resolved. You've been trying to rewrite your future while your body still relives the past. And no matter how much knowledge you gain, no shift is real until it's felt, until it's lived, until the body learns a new way to be. This is why you feel stuck, not because you lack will, but because the script isn't in your thoughts, it's in your bones, your breath, your beat. You are not broken. You are encoded. And the question that rises now is more than mental. It's physical. How can you rewrite? The signal when the program isn't just in your mind, but buried deep inside the body that carries you every day? Transformation doesn't begin with understanding. It begins with the experience of showing up in a new way. You can't just think your way into change. You have to feel it, live it, move through the world as if the shift has already happened. Even when the outside stays the same, you must become different on the inside. Not pretend, embody. This is not about waiting for proof. It's about choosing to be the proof. The nervous system learns through repetition, not theory. The way you walk, speak, breathe, and respond. All of it teaches your body what reality to expect. When you behave from a new identity, you lay down new patterns. You're not reacting from the past anymore. You're rehearsing the future. Reality is not the starting point, it's the echo. It reflects who you've already decided to become. That's why true change feels awkward at first. It feels unfamiliar. Because you're not repeating the known. You're stepping into the signal of what you want to broadcast now. One way to begin is with a simple practice. Stand before your reflection, breathe, look into your own eyes, and say the words, I see you, I honor you. This isn't affirmation. It's alignment. It's not about pretending, it's about remembering. When you show up to the mirror with presence, you don't just see yourself, you activate a new frequency, one that tells the nervous system, this is who I am now. But life doesn't pause while you shift. Triggers still appear. Old responses knock at the door, so the question becomes real. If the world continues to test you, if people and problems still press the same buttons, how will you hold the new frequency? Steady when the outside tries to pull you back into the old? What makes you angry, hurt, or anxious is not your enemy. These are messages, signals from within, not meant to harm, but to reveal. Each trigger is a mirror showing you the parts of yourself that are still waiting to be seen, still asking to be healed. It's not about the situation, it's about the wound it touches. That surge of emotion isn't weakness, it's a signpost. And every time you react, you're not reacting to the present. You're responding to an old imprint, resurfacing. These moments are not punishments. They are invitations. Every sharp word, every painful memory, every overwhelming feeling carries a question beneath it. How are you seeing yourself right now? What story are you stepping back into without realizing? Instead of reacting automatically, pause, breathe, shift from reaction to observation. Notice the space between the event and your response. That space is where your power lives. Because when you observe without judgment, you create freedom, you break the loop. And in that space, you get to choose again. Not as a victim of your past, but as the creator of your present. Your triggers aren't random. They are precise. They reflect the exact point where love is still missing within you. And when you meet that point, not with resistance, but with compassion, something begins to soften. The energy shifts. You reclaim what was once fractured. This is not bypassing pain. It is facing it with presence. You don't need to eliminate the trigger. You need to learn from it. Let it show you what part of yourself is still waiting to be included in your wholeness. Because if you could truly heal each reaction with compassion, if you could meet each inner wound with gentle understanding, what kind of strength would that compassion hold? You cannot judge yourself and expect reality to love you in return. The world does not respond to the words you say. It responds to the energy you hold. And no energy reshapes reality more gently and powerfully than compassion. Not the surface kind. The deep, quiet kind that whispers you are already enough, even when your mind says otherwise. Compassion is not weakness. It is courage, softened by grace. When you embrace the parts of yourself you once rejected, you shift what the mirror reflects. Instantly. The reflection cannot hold on to shame when you meet it with understanding. The image changes not because you have been fixed, but because you have been accepted. You are not here to earn love through perfection. You are here to receive healing through presence. Say it slowly. I do not need to be flawless to be worthy. I need to show up as I am, fully, bravely, and honestly. This is not about ignoring mistakes. It is about seeing them through the eyes of love. Forgiveness is not a transaction. It is a return to truth. And that truth is simple. You are not broken. You are becoming. Every flaw is a doorway. Every imperfection is a chance to remember who you are beyond the noise. Compassion clears the static. It quiets the inner critic. It invites you to see not just the wound, but the wisdom beneath it. Because the more you resist parts of yourself, the more life mirrors that resistance. The moment you offer kindness to the unhealed, you reclaim power that was never lost, only forgotten. And if everything you experience is a mirror with intention, if even your struggles are designed with meaning, then what kind of intelligence could be hiding inside the very challenges you've been trying to escape? Every reflection, even the most painful ones, carries sacred guidance within it. Life is not randomly throwing chaos in your path. It is responding with precision, offering signals that are meant to raise your awareness, not lower your hope. The coincidences you notice, the challenges you face, and the repeated patterns that test your patience are not mistakes. They are carefully crafted lessons, each designed to lift you into a higher frequency. When you stop seeing life as something happening to you and start recognizing that everything is being sent to you, something shifts. You no longer feel powerless. You remember your role. You remember that you are not just a participant. You are the creator. And from this place, you no longer fear the unknown. You start decoding it. You no longer see delay as rejection. You see it as redirection. Reality is not an accident. It is a system, one built not to harm, but to align, one not designed to punish but to guide. Behind every detour there is wisdom. Beneath every disruption there is meaning. And within every repeated experience lies a choice: to react as you always have, or to rise into something new. You don't need to figure everything out. You need to start seeing differently. The pattern is the message. The discomfort is the invitation. The moment you decide to look at life through the lens of alignment, rather than resistance, you begin to access the intelligence that has always been there, waiting, guiding, whispering. Because this journey is not about control, it's about collaboration. So if nothing is truly random, if every moment is a mirror crafted with purpose, then how would your life begin to change if you chose to live each day as a conscious ritual of creation? You don't need to change the entire world. You only need to meet the mirror each day with awareness. That simple act, quiet, deliberate, and present, begins to alter the frequency you carry. When you start your morning by looking into your own eyes and saying, "I choose to see myself with love," you activate something subtle but powerful. It's not about pretending to feel perfect. It's about choosing connection, choosing softness, choosing presence. At night, when the day is done, you pause again and ask, "What did 3 things today reflect back about me?" This isn't judgment. It's reflection. A sacred check-in between you and your own growth. And in between those moments, as life moves around you, you continue to observe, not obsessively, just curiously. What am I broadcasting right now? That one question brings you back to the center, back to the signal, back to the source of what you're creating. This rhythm becomes a ritual, not for control, but for coherence. The more consistently you meet yourself, the more clearly life mirrors that meeting. You stop chasing validation. You start embodying value. You stop reacting to chaos. You begin anchoring calm. Over time, these practices, small, intentional, repeated, recalibrate the mirror. Not because the world has changed, but because your frequency has. And the mirror cannot help but respond. That's the truth of resonance. That's the nature of energy. When you become steady in who you are, the world has no choice but to reflect that steadiness. And what begins as a personal shift becomes something far greater. So if showing up with intention can reshape your own reality, what might truly be changing, not just in your life, but in the lives of everyone who meets the new reflection you now carry? When you shift your own mirror, you begin to influence the collective one. Your inner transformation doesn't stay inside, it ripples. Because consciousness is not isolated, it is a field. And every thought, every act of compassion, every moment of acceptance you embody becomes part of the wave. The frequency you live in moves outward, touching others without needing permission, without needing words. You are not invisible. Your healing leaves a trace. Your self-love creates space. When you choose to soften where you once hardened, when you offer kindness to the parts of yourself once ignored, you show others what is possible. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to convince anyone. You simply become a living signal of what's real beneath the noise. Love, worth, connection. These are not abstract ideas. They are energies that multiply the moment they are shared. A single breath of gentleness toward yourself opens the door for someone else to do the same. A single pause, a single gaze into the mirror with truth instead of shame becomes an act of quiet revolution. You don't need to save the world. You only need to dare to love yourself fully. And in doing that, you create a field where healing becomes contagious. The mirror shifts not just for you, but for everyone who steps into your presence. Because when you change your reflection, you invite the world to see itself differently. And that is how change begins. Not with force, but with frequency. Not with struggle, but with remembrance. You are not alone. You are not separate. You are a part of the wave that moves through all of us. And when you choose to reflect love, the world begins to return it, not because you asked, but because you became the mirror first.